Hey guys, what is tone? So, in the world of guitar, you often hear people say, that guitar tone was awesome, or I want a tone that sounds like that. Sometimes it's more broad, people say things like, I want better tone. But what does tone mean? And does it mean different things to different people? Is tone the thing that comes from the tubes in this tube amp that doesn't actually exist? Is tone something that comes from the newest, shiniest digital amp modeler? Even though this one is now a generation behind and wasn't even the top tier modeler in its generation. Does tone come from the wood, the pickups and the strings of my guitars? Does tone come from the tone knob? Is tone a characteristic that's unique to the playing style of specific guitarists? Well, the answer to all these questions is yes, sort of. I want to take a look at where tone or timbre comes from, and the science behind it. First, we need to take a look at notes in music. Some of you may be thinking, well, isn't that obvious? Notes are just the set of 12 sounds of differing pitches that exist in Western harmony. I mean, after all, the 12 chromatic notes are common knowledge to musicians, as well as some non-musicians. Let's take a look at the note used for concert pitch, A, with a frequency of 440 Hz. Frequency is a measure of how often an event occurs per unit of time. The frequency of events happening per second is measured in Hertz, after your boy, Heinrich Hertz. Heinrich Hertz was a German physicist who proved the existence of electromagnetic waves that were first theorized by another giant in the field of physics, James Clerk Maxwell, a Scottish mathematician and physicist. Frequency doesn't always have to be measured in Hertz. We can say that an event occurs per minute, per hour, or any other interval of time. So this pitch of A that we've chosen is caused by 440 events happening per second. The event, in the case of sound waves, is the vibration or oscillation of pressure and displacement waves occurring through a medium, which we'll take to be air. So that pitch of 440 Hz means 440 of these oscillations happening per second. Okay, so now that we know what notes are, let's make music. So wait a second, I'm playing all the notes at the required frequencies, but it doesn't sound how you would expect it to. That's because all you're hearing are sine waves set to the frequencies of each note in the piece of music you just heard. A sine wave is a smooth mathematical curve that has a regular or periodic oscillation. The periodic part is important because that means the pitch of the notes don't change with time. Sound waves that are not periodic, like those produced by percussion instruments, or just sound that you hear around you, are not perceived as musical notes by our ears, whereas sound waves produced by pitched instruments are perceived as musical notes by our ears. So the thing is, when you hear an instrument play a note, you're not just hearing sine waves of just one frequency, you're also hearing harmonics or overtones of that frequency. Here's what the harmonics look like on an ideal one-dimensional string. The lowest frequency is known as the fundamental frequency. Each of the subsequent harmonics are an integer multiple of the fundamental frequency. So for a fundamental frequency of 440 Hz, the first harmonic is 880 Hz. The second harmonic is 1320 Hz. The third harmonic is 1760 Hz, and so on. This series of notes is called the harmonic series. So starting from a pitch of A at 220 Hz, it sounds a little something like this. So what you heard was the harmonic series of A at 220 Hz, starting at the fundamental and going up the first 5 harmonics. The really interesting thing is that a lot of the key intervals in Western harmony are all present. From the fundamental to the first harmonic, you go up an octave. From the first to the second harmonic, you go up a fifth. From the second to the third harmonic, you go up a fourth. From the third to the fourth harmonic, you go up a major third. And from the fourth to the fifth harmonic, you go up a minor third. That means the intervals in Western harmony are no accident. They occur naturally as overtones or harmonics of periodic oscillations as a result of the laws of physics. When you play any note on a musical instrument, you're not just hearing the fundamental frequency, you're also hearing a combination of different harmonics on top of that. Here's an example of that same A at 220 Hz, but with harmonics layered on top. So the effect is subtle there, but there is a distinct difference between just playing the fundamental and playing the fundamental with the first 5 harmonics layered on top. So let's play that first example again. The first time you hear it will be as it was. The second time will be with the first 5 harmonics added on top. While you're only hearing fundamental frequencies in the first clip, the second clip sounded more like it was played on a really crappy electric piano. Any notes that you hear on a pitched musical instrument will be a combination of its fundamental frequency, which gives you the bass pitch of the note, as well as harmonics and overtones, which add to the richness and color of the note. So how does this figure into tone? Like I said, any note played on a pitched instrument is a combination of its fundamental frequency and its harmonics. The combination of harmonics contributes to the tone or timbre of the instrument. It's part of the reason why musical instruments playing the same note sound different, as they all produce a different series of harmonics, each of the harmonics at a different intensity. This is why when you sing notes at the same pitch, but have a different vowel stress, such as A, O, and E, they sound different despite being the same pitch. This is because our vocal cords are capable of producing different harmonics depending on which vowel sound we want to create. The harmonics that your vocal cords can create contributes a lot to the sound of your speaking and singing voice. Generally speaking, the more higher order harmonics there are, the brighter or richer the sound is, or if there are less higher order harmonics, or if lower order harmonics are more present, the more rounder and darker the sound is. We can demonstrate this by picking near the bridge and up the neck of an acoustic guitar. This is why pickups on a guitar sound different. The bridge pickup, being nearer the bridge, picks up more of the higher order harmonics, producing a brighter sound. Whereas the neck pickup is picking up less of those higher order harmonics, giving it a less bright and more rounded sound. As an aside, it's no coincidence that guitar harmonics are called just that. When you play a 12th fret harmonic, you're at the midpoint of the neck. Placing your finger at the 12th fret stops the fundamental and any harmonic that doesn't have a 0 point at the 12th fret from oscillating. The lowest pitch you're hearing is the first harmonic, which is why the pitch of the 12th fret harmonic on a guitar is an octave above the open strings. 7th fret harmonics isolate the second harmonic, stopping any oscillation below the second harmonic, making the pitch an octave and a fifth above the open strings. 5th fret harmonics isolate the third harmonic, stopping any oscillation below the third harmonic, making the pitch 2 octaves up from the open string. What we looked at was a basic look at the physics of harmonics and how they contribute to tone or timbre. However, a musical instrument is an incredibly complex physical system, with lots of different elements contributing to the tone or timbre. Take the electric guitar for instance. The wood in the guitar will resonate with certain harmonics and dampen others. The bridge can affect which harmonics can resonate more strongly. The string gauge and material can also affect which harmonics come through, as well as how you pick the string. An added complication are the pickups, which are designed to pick up certain frequencies over others, meaning that the harmonics that come through will vary depending on the pickup, affecting your tone. Not to mention all the signal processing that goes on in your amp and CAD or your digital modeler, as well as the specifics of the gear you use, such as microphones you use to mic up your cab, or equalizers in your DAW, and so on. So what I want you to take away from this video is a basic understanding of the physics behind harmonics and how they contribute to the tone of the instrument that you play. On any instrument, the combination of the medium of oscillation, be it a string or a column of air, the material that the instrument is made from, as well as how you actually play it, will all produce a different series of harmonics and therefore affect the overall tone or timbre of the instrument. Adjusting any of these variables will have an impact on the harmonics produced and hence an impact on the tone or timbre. Generally speaking, the instruments that we use are mostly well built and mostly sound good, which means that what you define as a good tone is entirely subjective. So while I've not given you any answers in your search for tone, hopefully this video has given you some insight into the physics of how tone and timbre comes about. If you have any questions about anything in this video, please ask in a comment and I'll try my best to answer them. A special thanks to all my patrons for all their support. If you'd like to contribute, a link to my Patreon will be in the description. Also, links to all the gear I use and my Discord server are also in the description. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.